Back to the office, peasant. Your time working from home is up. All right, well, today I wanted to talk about why employers forcing workers back into the office is stupid. I worked from home for over 2 years from the start of the pandemic up until the end of 2022 when they forced us to come back into the office. I can tell you that working from home was absolutely amazing. My stress levels were way down and I was able to get a lot more done around my apartment. I was also able to save over $10,000 during those 2.5 years, especially as gas started to get really expensive in 2022. I can't tell you, like, the amount of gas that I saved over those 2.5 years was well over $10,000. Like, I have to commute a bit of a distance to my employer, and this really added up. And I was able to put a lot of that money into investments, and be able to go on a few vacations, and just made it was a massive improvement in my life overall. I put less mileage on my car, and I didn't have to sit in bumper to bumper traffic on the highway getting to and from work. I also felt a lot happier during this time as I didn't have to deal with everything that, comes along with work in the office, like workplace politics, shitty coworkers, distractions from people coming up to your cubicle, and workplace gossip. When I was working from home, I also saved money from cooking lunch at home, and I was able to get stuff done like laundry and dishes, and overall just like keeping my apartment clean. I read an article recently that went over 4 reasons why corporations want workers to come back into the office. The reasons that they listed were productivity, culture, collaboration, and career development. In regards to productivity, I feel like I'm way more productive working from home. Like, I don't have the constant distraction of like hearing people talk loudly in the office, people like eating their food at lunch loudly. I don't hear this, I don't have the smells of people eating their food. I don't have the distraction of people coming by your cubicle to make pointless small talk about mindless things. Not that I hate, people coming by my cubicle. Like, sometimes this is great. Like, sometimes I do like to socialize, and this can be good at work because you can kind of vent about the day and get a mental break from the head-wrecking tasks that you're working on. But honestly, I work better when I'm by myself, and I can just concentrate better at home when it's quiet, it's peaceful, and there's no one around that I have to deal with. I get it. There are, probably some people who slack off a lot when they work from home. But to be honest, like, from what I've seen, like, a lot of people are much more productive working from home. Honestly, I think, corporations should allow people who perform their job duties well to work from home. I think it would be a good incentive to keep solid employees around and keep them happy. In regards to culture, like, this is the biggest load of BS that I've ever heard. If you call culture going to pointless meetings where the things that you cover are like so minute and pointless that you could have read about them in an email, or if culture is being roped into going to work happy hours where you end up being stuck there for 3 hours and you have to socialize with, people and talk about like, mindless things with them, like, or deal with the people who constantly try to suck up to the boss, people who try to out alpha one another in meetings. Like, that's not my idea of culture that I want to be a part of. Most employees are just much happier when they work from home, plain and simple. And if they're forced to come into the office, like, they're going to be less happy as a result, and their mood is going to show. Like, I saw this happen for me and a lot of people that I knew. I personally gradually just became less productive over time. Not to the point of like performing poorly in my job, but I enjoyed work much more when I just wasn't forced to come in and sit in a cubicle all day and deal with, the day-to-day whims of being in the office. Also, when people are used to working from home for over 2 years, and now you tell them that they have to, spend their hard-earned money on car repairs, flat tires, and gas money to commute to work every day, like, this is just gonna drag on their psyche because they were used to working from home for so long. At least at the company I work for, like, working from home worked. Like, I was able to do my job like 110% from home. And I think if you're like a knowledge worker, whether that's like a software engineer or sales or like the vast customer service, like the vast majority of jobs can work 100% from home. Like, I can see if you work in the trades, as an example, like, yeah, you have to be at the job site. But for information workers, like, there's really no point anymore, to have to get into your car, drive into the office, and then, do that whole shebang. Like, it's just, you don't have to do it. Like, COVID proved that we can work from home 110%. Collaboration is also another one that I see as ridiculous. Like, you can collaborate just as efficiently on Zoom. In fact, like, I find meetings are much more productive on Zoom as opposed to like cramming everyone into a conference room and like everyone trying to get the last word in. At least on Zoom, there's a little bit more order. You know, like most people like raise their hand on Zoom to say something. People aren't constantly talking over each other. Like it's just interesting. Like I've never felt the need to collaborate with someone in person as opposed to virtually. Like if you want to run an idea by a manager or a coworker, you can just chat them on Zoom. You can chat them, on Messenger or whatever software you use, and find a time to hop on a quick call. Like it's really that simple. I don't think collaboration is better in person. Like I think you can come up with good ideas on Zoom and just be just as effective. In regards to career development, this is the only one that I can kind of see where they're coming from. But even so, you can arrange a Zoom call with anyone. Like if you're interested in a certain role or department in the company, like you can just simply email someone who works in that role and schedule a time on their calendar. You know, I don't know. Corporations always bring up like the water fountain example as like, oh, you run into people at the water fountain and, you meet more people and a lot of the best ideas are found at the water fountain. Like, I don't know who made this up, but this is a complete myth. Like most people in the workplace, if they don't know you, like they don't really want to have a conversation with you when they're filling up their water bottle. Like if anything, it's like a quick hi and bye. I've made some good friends at work, don't get me wrong, but it's not the norm. Like you got to remember, like most people at work, they're trying to advance in their career just like you are. And honestly, there really isn't a huge difference in career advancement, between hopping on a Zoom call for an introduction to someone or like an overview or meeting them in a conference room or at their desk. Yeah, in person, you're able to, I guess, maybe connect with them better. Like you can really see their body language, but I mean, you can see their body language on Zoom. You can see their facial expressions there too. So to me, it just doesn't make a big difference. I really think corporations, they're just, what pisses me off is they're never honest about the real reasons they want employees to come back into the office. Like it really comes down to control. Like employers want to be able to monitor you and see what you're doing in person in real time to get a gauge on how motivated you are in the office. Like employers, they want to also be able to keep you location dependent, and they just don't want you to have the freedom of being able to live and work where you want to. I think during the pandemic, like a lot of people like moved across the country, or they moved down. Some people would like spend some time in Florida. And I don't think corporations really like this, because corporations, they want to keep you nestled to that area as a way to kind of control you and, just as I said, keep you set, kind of sedentary. Like they really do want you to have to kind of go through the grind of like driving into the office, grinding it out all day in the office, in your cubicle, go through the meetings, dealing with all the distractions in the office. And then, at the end of the day, driving back home. Like working in the office can be very mentally taxing. Like by the time you get home, like a lot of nights, you really don't have a lot of energy to do anything. Like, I know I did when I was in my mid-late 20s, but now it's just much tougher. I also think it comes down to the real estate value of the buildings as well. Like they want to have workers occupying their buildings, and they'll never say these. I wish they would just come out and say this, like, hey, we want to be able to manage our employees better, and we can do this if our employees are in the office. Or I wish they would say it came down to a monetary reason. It's because of the real estate value of the buildings. Like if they said this, I mean, we still wouldn't want to work in the office, but I would be able to kind of respect them a little bit more if they came out and said that. And to be honest, I also think a lot of corporations could save a lot of money if they didn't have to pay all the electricity costs, the other utility costs, and the rent costs if they don't own the buildings. I believe these are the two biggest reasons. Corporations, they'll tell you it's collaboration, it's culture, blah, 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 until they're blue in the face. But they're honestly just lying at the end of the day. Well, if you've enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like. Feel free to comment down below your opinion on the work from home dilemma. And feel free to subscribe. Until next time, take care.